Good morning. Today is section 26, which is all of, I believe, 2 verses. Anyways, my wheel. July 1830, Harmony, Pennsylvania, for Joseph Smith, Oliver Cowdery, and John Whitmer. And the doctrine or theme is the law of common consent. So there's not much known about how or why this revelation was received, but most of these revelations are in response to questions asked of the Lord. They say in the podcast a lot, you have to want, or they say something along the lines of, it makes you wonder what the question was that they asked the Lord. So anyways, it's 2 verses. So it says, "Behold, I say unto you that you shall let your time be devoted to the studying of the Scriptures, and to preaching, and to confirming the church at Colesville, and to performing your labors on the land, such as is required, until after you shall go to the west to hold the next conference. And then it shall be made known what you shall do. And all things shall be done by common consent in the church, by much prayer and faith. For all things you shall receive by faith. Amen." So a lot of the supplemental has to do with this this concept of common consent. Let me see. Elder Charles W. Penrose says, "The voice of the people should respond to the voice of the Lord. It is the voice of the Lord and the voice of the people together in this church that sanctions all things therein. The Lord designs that every individual member shall take an interest therein, shall bear a part of the responsibility, and shall take upon him or her the spirit of the church, and be an active living member of the body." So this concept of common consent is not this kind of passive existence in the church. It's more of okay, so the Lord calls this person to this position. It's your duty to say, yes, I sustain this person. And I think Malia and I were talking about sustaining, or somebody, and no, it was a talk I was reading, I think. Anyways, it says, the sustaining does not happen when you raise your hand, but when you support them in their calling. The raising of the hand signifies that you will step up and help them when the time comes. That's not the sustaining. The sustaining is your action. So I think that's all for this book, but there's something in the Ludlow that I really liked. And it says there are 2 forms of government. The one-man form does not recognize the right of the governed to a voice in the government. This is called autocracy. I don't know how to say the word. Autocracy? Autocracy? I don't know. And is frequently referred to as paternalism. Government by the people. Government by the people means the rule of the majority, no matter what that means, or methods that majority has been obtained. This is democracy. All human forms of government belong to one of these. They are either autocracies, or democracies, or modifications of them. Both have merits and also defects. In autocracies, there is a tendency to disregard individual rights for the benefit of the few. In democracies, the danger is that the worst element may obtain preponderance, because citizens of that class will employ means to gain their ends, with which citizens with a high moral standard would never adopt. Democracies with party rule sometimes are exposed to all the evils of mob rule. In the Church of Christ, where the government is that of the kingdom of heaven, neither autocracy or democracy obtains, but government by common consent. Sorry, that was a rough one. Probably should have looked up how to pronounce that word before I came on here. But anyways, so I thought that was interesting because right now we're kind of seeing both options being played out in the world. But when we go to church and somebody gets a new calling, well, come conference Saturday afternoon session, we're going to see this play out where we're going to sustain some church leaders, and how it's not mob rule, or the prophet just says that's the way it is and suck it up, but we get to see that the Lord has called people, and we get to sustain that we believe and affirm their calling. So that is basically section 26. All right. Next week, 27 through 28. So we will see you then.